In this video, we're going to discuss the truth about vulnerability with women, the types of women that you should date seriously, the types of women that you should avoid dating seriously, and ultimately how to have a fulfilling dating life while avoiding toxic relationships and women that are gonna mistreat you and disrespect you. Because unfortunately, the world today is filled with paranoia. The red pill is widespread, and they're teaching a lot of men a lot of good things, I would say, about female nature, but at the same time, a lot of paranoid ideologies, a frame of us versus them, how to be overly dominant, overly masculine, to the point where men can no longer have fulfilling relationships and they are afraid of being in a committed relationship because they're scared of being cheated on, they're scared of being lied to, manipulated, gaslighted, and ultimately, we have created a world where men can no longer trust women. It's funny because a lot of these red pill coaches and red pill theories, you can just tell by looking at them and the way they speak about women, they don't actually date the way that they claim to date. Because if they did, then they wouldn't have these ideologies in the first place. They would have a more positive outlook on women. And I think one of the more harmful ideologies and aspects of the red pill is the frame of us versus them. There's this prevalent aspect of the red pill, this frame that promotes the idea that as a man, you are battling against women. Women are not on your side. It's not a cooperative environment. You cannot be vulnerable with women. You cannot open up to them. You cannot be weak in front of them. And overall, you have to always present yourself to be this strong, masculine, alpha dog that's constantly dominating her and showing her who's boss. Because if you don't do that, hypergamy is going to kick in. And the moment you lose your job, she's going to leave you for another guy, or she's going to abandon you for the millionaire, or she's going to cheat on you. And this is an ideology that when I was coming up in the game, I became very susceptible to. And I'm not going to lie, I thought that way too in the past. I thought that women couldn't be trusted, that I had to dominate them, that I could not cooperate with them, and ultimately, I couldn't be vulnerable with them. But after years in the game and dating multiple women and having all kinds of varied relationships, I've realized that that's not true. It's part of the truth, but it's not the whole truth. This is the whole truth. Yes, you can be vulnerable with women. In fact, you can be vulnerable with a lot of women. But there are certain types of women that are just not worth you being vulnerable with because they are not the types of women that you need to be in a relationship with. There are two types of women in this world. There are value-based women and comfort-based women. Okay? Value-based women are the types of women that are always looking for the strongest, most charismatic, most dominant man that they can date. Those women want to date a man that's always on top of his shit. He's always on his purpose. He never falters. He never wavers. On the other hand, you have comfort-based women. Those are women that, yeah, of course, as a woman, they want to date someone that's attractive and that has value, but ultimately, what they care about the most is time spent, chemistry, sharing positive memories with them, connection, vulnerability, intimacy. Now, which one of those two women do you think you should enter a relationship with? If you answered value-based women, then that is why you're getting screwed over in the dating game. Okay? Ultimately, if you're going to enter into a relationship with a woman, any type of relationship, polyamory, monogamy, monogamous, whatever, multiple partners, any type of relationship, comfort based women are the way to go because those women value the connection that you two have more than the value. So if another guy comes into the picture that has more money, more status, more influence than you, the likelihood that he's going to be able to take your girl away from you is close to none. Because ultimately, what she values is the connection and the memories and the shared experiences that you and her shared. And no guy that came into the picture 2 weeks ago is going to undo years and months of shared experience and intimacy that you and your woman have. That's the value that comfort based women bring. Value based women, on the other hand, are more nebulous. Those are the types of women that you hear cheat on their boyfriend for someone that makes more money, who is more charismatic, who is more dominant. And that doesn't mean that they're, by the way, being dominant and more charismatic doesn't automatically equate to being rich. It could be you are more rich than the guy she cheated on you with. In fact, the guy that she cheated on you with is some hood rat. However, he's dominant, he's charismatic, he knows how to influence her emotions. And because this is the type of woman that values value more than she does comfort and trust and connection, she's going to follow value all the way through. And those are the women that are going to cheat on you. Those are the women that are going to leave you when you lose your job. Those are the women that you cannot be vulnerable with. So ultimately, if you have had an experience where a woman left you because you lost your job or because you were vulnerable with her or because you were weak at any given point, then that's a sign that you picked poorly and you dated a value-based woman, right? Now, how can you make sure this doesn't happen again? Well, ultimately, you are what you attract. And at the end of the day, if you're a materialistic person, you are going to attract a materialistic woman. That's a fact. A lot of these red pill guys, you can just tell by watching at their videos, they are very materialistic. They care a lot about money. They care a lot about success. They have an ego about being high value men. And because that's their image that they portray to the world, those are the types of women that they attract. However, if you were to change your paradigm and you became someone that values connection, you value trust, intimacy, shared experience, then you would attract more comfort-based women in your life and repel the value-based women. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, you're going to deal with both. But by you presenting yourself a certain way and for striving, and by striving for connection and intimacy, you are upping the chances that you're going to end up with a comfort-based girl. And with them, you can have all kinds of different relationships. You can be very honest with them about being in an open relationship. You can be very vulnerable and truthful and weak in front of them. And they appreciate that because to them, it's a sign of connection. Wow, my man is showing me a different side of himself. Now, let me throw a caveat out there. That doesn't mean that you can just be crying in front of your girl every day. Like, no matter if you're a woman or a man, that shit gets annoying. Okay, even if you're as a man dating a woman, I don't want my woman to be sad and vulnerable and weak all the time. Okay, there's a time and a place for it. Like, you want someone that's adding to your life. So don't see this as an excuse to, oh, okay, I got a comfort-based woman, so now I'm just going to be crying in front of her all the time. No, all right? You still need to be strong. You still need to be positive. You still need to be a man of value. But it's good to know that you have a woman by your side that if you're going through a rough patch, you can share that with her. You can share that experience. You can share your vulnerable thoughts, thoughts of weakness. You can share your doubts. And then you can talk about it. And then you have to stand up, get back on your feet, and go dominate life again. All right. Again, comfort-based women are not an excuse for you to be weak all the time. No woman wants that. All right. You still need to be on top of your shit. The difference between a comfort-based woman and a value-based woman is that the comfort-based woman is going to be there for the long haul, and she's willing to see you go through a more rough patch and see it through to the end for a lot longer compared to a value-based woman. The value-based woman, the moment she sees that, she's out. Like the moment you lose your job, by the time you turn around, she's already out the room. You're like, Maria? That's what you end up doing, okay? The moment you lose your job, right? And that's why those value-based women also tend to be very manipulative, and they also tend to be very testy. That's something to keep in mind. Value-based women are very testy. They tend to test you a lot. They tend to like really try to make you jealous all the time. Those are the types that always show up late on dates, and they are always like clapping back at you, and they're expecting you to constantly be dominating them and constantly letting them know who's boss. And again, that can be fun, but it's tiring if you're in a relationship and you're seeing a type like that type of woman all the time. It is tiring if you're hanging out with that type of person all the time. So I would suggest to you, keep the comfort-based women for girlfriends and more serious stuff and more deeper connections, and keep the value-based women for more casual flings. Okay, just having fun, not really, don't really get too invested in them. Don't bring them into your life too much. Don't introduce them to your friends. Because again, those are the types of women that are constantly trying to make you jealous, because they constantly want you to prove to them that you're the boss, that you're the top dog, and that you don't get jealous, and that you're on top of your shit. And that can get really annoying if you are put in a situation where a girl that you're dating is blatantly disrespecting you by flirting with one of your friends just to see how you react. Okay? So you don't want to date those types of women seriously. Those types of women are only for casual flings. The only women that you should consider dating seriously are the types of women that you can be vulnerable with, the types of women that you can be yourself with, the types of women that you can open up and truly have an intimate, open-hearted relationship with. And those are the comfort-based women. Again, not an excuse to be weak and to be a peasant. You still need to be a king. All right? Just because she's a comfort-based woman does not mean that you get to be all weak and lazy around her. You still need to be on top of your shit. Just know that this type of woman is more likely to stick with you through the rough patch, through a down moment, through moments of weakness. She's willing to stick with it a little bit longer than the value-based woman. But still, that's not an excuse for you to be weak. And also keep in mind that comfort-based women will still test. They will test you. It's just that their tests are a lot calmer, and they're a lot more civil and a lot more reasonable compared to the value-based woman. The value-based woman is going out of her way to make you jealous. She's showing up late on dates. She's just being annoying, and you constantly have to like dominate her and show her who's boss. The comfort-based woman, she might like do like a little test here and there to test your integrity and to see if she can trust you, but it's never something that goes over any boundary or any line in the sand. So they're more chill to keep around, they're more fun to be around, they're more simple. So comfort-based women for relationships, value-based women for casual flings. All right? As long as you keep this in mind, you will have no problem with women, you will have no problem being vulnerable with women, and you will never have to go through a toxic relationship ever again.